Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're catching this video. Hello, and welcome to the Barclays Premier League Week 2 Ketchup. We're going to cover all 10 games. I'm going to give some quick notes about the game. I'm going to try to detail some of the players that really stood out and let you guys know how the tables look for Week 2. So, Huddersfield is at the top. They're in the technically second place right now. Manchester United, Huddersfield, and West Brom are the three undefeated teams. So let's jump into the first game. Speaking of Manchester United, they win 4-0. They absolutely trounced Swansea City. Swansea came out early on, had a few good chances. Early on, Manchester United did also. They both hit the post, I think 2 or 3 times in the first 10 minutes. There was a great play where Ayew slipped past Bailly, some shoddy defending, almost broke through. He hit the post. Swansea came out of this game starting in a 3 center-back formation. They eventually went to a 4-4-2. Finally, Pogba gets a header off the post. Bailly picks up the rebound and slots it in. Bailly gets his first goal in the Barclays Premier League. And after that, the gates kind of opened up. Martial came on for Mata. The Martial, Lukaku, Mkhitaryan trio started to fire on all cylinders. We had Lukaku get a great goal off of some nice play between the three of them. And then you had Martial get a great goal. Pogba had a nice little chip shot. So these three, Mkhitaryan, Martial, and Lukaku, are in incredible form. And I really have to highlight Mkhitaryan here because Mkhitaryan's not scoring the goals, but he is getting the assists. He has 4 assists in the 2 games. He's at 2 assists in each of those. And Martial looks like the player that he is in FIFA 17, honestly. And the thing is, this is why Mourinho didn't want to sell Martial, because he is absolute class when he's playing at his best. It's going to be interesting to see. I read a report who's going to be better in the long run, Rashford or Martial. I think Rashford is incredibly inconsistent. Martial so far has been consistent this year. He was not consistent last year. It'll be interesting to see if they start to swing Rashford out wide and play him and start to bring him in. And also, Zlatan just signed a new contract. So that's pretty cool. As of Thursday, Zlatan, it says, there's reports that he's signing a new contract. And it's always been known that he's welcome to come back. He won't be wearing number 9 because that's Lukaku's jersey now. But imagine Lukaku takes a step out of the game. And who comes in? Zlatan. Oh, that's right. Look at that picture. Wrestling the devil. He's a freaking god. That's right. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a.k.a. the god, is coming back. So, great game. You know, Pogba almost got sent off. He's lucky. If that was a different referee, he could have been sent off. Scrappy game. Roca Mesa, the Spanish midfielder who just transferred to Swansea City, also had a debut. Not very impressive. But that's it. Manchester United wins 4-0. Let's move on to West Brom versus Burnley. The other undefeated team, West Brom, after winning this one 1-0 versus Burnley, wasn't much of a great game. Last week, Vokes was really, really impressive for Burnley. He was not able to get things going in this game. Robinson Kanu, though, gets a ball passed to him. Somebody brings it down. He gets through the defense. Great play. You know, great ability to get past the defenders and scores. This is after he comes on as a substitute. He bangs a beautiful goal. And then Robinson Kanu becomes one of only 4 players to ever be substituted on, score a goal, and then get sent off by a red card. I don't understand what he was thinking here, but he wasn't on the field long, but his impact was felt. He gets a goal, he gets a red card, and he's gone. Hey, you know what? They won the game for that 1-0 goal. There it was. Great goal, though, from him, and we'll have to see what happens. West Brom is undefeated. How long can that last? I doubt longer than next week. I think they'll probably tie or lose next week. They can't run undefeated. Next up, we have Southampton versus West Ham. Great game. This was a 3-2 thriller. Southampton ended up edging it out, but this was a game of terrible defense. Another game with a red card. Another game with plenty of bad tackles and a red card. Early on, Redmond sends a great ball through to Gabbiadini. Gabbiadini's able to get on the end of it with a good goal. They go up 1-0. Southampton goes up 1-0. And then Arnautovic in the 32nd minute, I don't understand what the hell he's doing, but he decides to throw an elbow in someone's face and get sent off. This was just as flagrant as John Joe Shelby's was last week. You had to have some serious intent to put your big fat arm into that guy's face. Come on, Arnautovic. This is a record signing for them too. This guy needs to be better. So they're down 1-0, and then of course Fonte pulls down Davis. Tadic goes up for the penalty shot. They go up 2-0. Southampton goes up 2-0. Then Chicharito's impact starts to be felt. He scores 1 goal, a nice little scrappy pickup after an Antonio kick that's deflected. And then he picks up another goal and gets a 2-2. So they're at 2-2 at the 90th minute. You think, okay, West Ham could squeak out with a point here. Nope. Terrible defending once again by Fonte. Winston Reid pulled up injured before the game started, so Fonte and Ogbonna were back there. And man, Fonte was terrible. Fonte and Zabaleta go in really badly on a tackle on Yoshida. They draw another penalty. Charlie Austin steps up, drives it home. Joe Hart cannot save it. Joe Hart didn't look that good in this game either. But there you go. Southampton beats West Ham. West Ham's got to be pissed that they lost this one. Next up, we have Leicester versus Brighton. Within minutes of the game, within actually the first minute, Mahrez already showing his class, his skill. He's got 5-star skills in FIFA 17, and he's got like 10-star skills in real life. The guy was moving, he was grooving. He made some great plays. His first chance, he gets a shot on goal, and it leads to an Akuzaki rebound shot, which goes in the back of the net. They go up 1-0. They played really well. It'll be interesting to see if Vardy goes. I know there's been many of offers for Mahrez already from Roma. They were putting up 30, 40 million. I think about 30 million, almost 40 million at this point. I'm a Roma fan. I'd love for him to go there. But they need to keep him if they want to stay competitive in the BPL, because this guy has class. They might lose Vardy. I hear a lot of rumors right now for Vardy going to Chelsea and other things. They already lost Conte last year, and it showed their championship form just start to dip. They were the champions 2 years ago. They could have been relegated last year. They were so bad. So 2-0 win after a Maguire, the center back for Leicester, Maguire gets a header in. They go up 2-0 and they win this game. So Leicester wins. Moving on, we got Watford versus Bournemouth. In this one, this was another one of these games where honestly I didn't expect to see a lot of great action, 2 mediocre teams. Gomez, though, the Watford goalkeeper, really stood on his head in this game. He made a lot of great saves early on. Eventually, where Carlson, the Brazilian transfer, ended up opening up the scoreline for Watford, getting a great goal. It was a cleanup goal. Honestly, the Bournemouth keeper probably should have cleaned this one up, but he didn't. It goes in the back of the net for Carlson. And then Etienne Capoue with the goal of the week. Absolutely goal of the week, Etienne Capoue. There's a ball, it's struck inside, it hits off the goalkeeper, the center back tries to clear it, it doesn't, it goes to Etienne Capoue, and he Capoues this in the back of the net. I don't know if Capoue is a verb. I don't know, but I'm making it one because the guy drilled it in the back of the net. They go up 2-0, Watford wins against Bournemouth. Next up, we have Stoke versus Arsenal. That's right, Uncle Jesse, or Uncle Hesse Rodriguez, the transfer who originally was at Real Madrid. He goes to PSG, and now he comes to Stoke, and he has a great debut. He scores a great goal with help from Berahino, who absolutely outplayed the center back, Mustafi, for Arsenal. He just was left on his heels, and he could not stop these two. Berahino and Hesse come down. Great moves. Hesse gets his first goal, and that's all they needed. Butland played incredible. He had some great saves, and even though Arsenal did dominate a lot of this game in the midfield, between Xhaka and Ramsey, they really dictated the pace in the midfield, although Xhaka gave up the ball a few times, and I really just don't think Xhaka is a top player in regards that he shouldn't be starting in Arsenal's midfield. I think they could do better. I'm not sure who, but I think they could do better. It'll be interesting to see if they eventually bring him out because he had a bad game. And for the most part, Arsenal dominated play, like I said, but they were very vulnerable on the counterattack, and it showed. Hesse's only 1 goal was all it took. Arsene Wenger was pissed at the end of this game too, but I would be too if I lost to Stoke. Next up, we have Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace playing without Wilfried Zaha. Not sure how long that's going to be. But Liverpool had a lot of chances in the first half. They had a lot of chances in the second half. And it was looking like this one might come down to a tie. In the end, Salah looked good. Salah looked really good. I really like this transfer they brought in, Salah. And I would, I like him on the wing. But him and Mane are just, that would be a great combination to get these guys up front together and let them just take over. Mane has a small head. Mane has a very, very small head. I don't know if anyone ever noticed that, but the guy has the smallest head I've ever seen. He's the guy who eventually perseveres. He gets through the defense of Crystal Palace. A couple defenders try to get in front of him. The ball kind of bounces here and there, and he just drives one in the back of the net. Liverpool go up 1-0. Andrew Robertson, actually the left back, he assisted in this play. Andrew Robertson, who's the new left back. James Milner was a makeshift left back last year. Now he's moving to the midfield, so it'd be interesting to see how good this Robertson guy is on the left side of the defense. I do think he's an upgrade, though, to Alberto Moreno. Next up, we have Huddersfield versus Newcastle, and muy bien. No. Muy for Huddersfield scores a classy goal. An absolute screamer from the edge of the box to put them up 1-0 against Newcastle. And Newcastle just struggled all day. They didn't have enough going forward. I don't know, but Gale isn't going to be enough for them. I think Lanzini would be nice to bring back in there and see him do well. But honestly, Gale also kind of looks like the oldest young player on the field. He looks so old, but he kind of has like a baby face. He's got the Benjamin Button disease, I think. He's got the Benjamin Button look. He looks just old but young. He's Benjamin Button. He's just Benjamin Button. I have nothing else to say. Moy scores the only goal, 1-0. They win against Newcastle, who look like they won't be in the Premier League this year. Honestly, they just don't look like they belong. The other championship teams that came up, they look good. Newcastle does not. They needed to spend more money. They need to spend money, honestly, to compete in this league, and they just aren't going to be able to compete unless they do. Next up, we have Chelsea versus Tottenham, and when I saw this game on paper, I thought this is going to be the game. That's going to be the game of the week, and it was. It was really a thriller. It was a 2-1 thriller. Morata played very well early. He almost got a goal off the header, but really, it all came down to one guy, and his name is Marcus freaking Alonso, the left back. He scores a amazing free kick very early on in the game, and I just couldn't believe that this guy has that kind of talent at left back. It reminds me of, I don't know, maybe Gareth Bale, talented left foot that could play left mid, left back, left wing. He could do it all. This guy was incredible. Kane and Ali pressed all game. They almost got one in right before halftime, but they were unable to do so. Ali, Kane, Eriksen, they just couldn't get one past the Chelsea line. Eventually, it's okay, Michere Batshuayi gets one for him. That's right, the striker for Chelsea scores an own goal to see it tied up 1-1 in the 81st minute. And then, in the 87th minute, Marcus Alonso drives the side of the net, runs down the bar line, and just slides one past Lloris. And Lloris should have saved this. This guy is a world-class goalkeeper. I'm sure his goalkeeping coach is going to kick him in his nuts over this, because this was the worst attempted save I've ever seen. Chelsea win 2-1. Actually, you know what? Marcus Alonso wins this game. Marcus Alonso 2, Tottenham 1. Tottenham, I know the Wembley curse. They haven't won there yet. I don't know. I think Chelsea had their number. They always have their number, and it seems like Tottenham just they couldn't stop the guy who they didn't expect to stop, honestly, because they were able to slow down the rest of Chelsea, but they just couldn't stop the guy in the back, left back, is coming upfield, scoring free kicks, scoring these cheeky goals from the side of the net, and they paid the price. It'll be interesting to see how Tottenham rebound. I think they're still going to have a great year, but I don't know. I just can't believe this happened. I really expected them to win. Alonso has a magical foot, though. He really does. So Chelsea win 2-1. Next up, The Monday game, we have Manchester City versus Everton. And Pickford for Everton, their goalkeeper. This young talent is so good. He made so many great saves early on. De Bruyne and Aguero, these guys were pressing hard on him, and he was able to keep them from scoring. And finally, my main man, Rooney the Rooster, scores his 200th goal of the year. He's now 1 for 1. He scored in both of the last 2 games. He now has his 200th Barclays Premier League goal. There's only 2 players that have done that, him and Alan Shearer. Shearer has 260 goals, though. Rooney has 200. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think Wayne Rooney can catch up with Alan Shearer, who has 260 goals? It seems to me like Rooney's on the decline of his career. Can he get 60 more goals? I mean, if he played 3 years, maybe 4 years, scored 20 goals maybe each year, I mean, it's going to take a lot. But who knows? Do you think he could reach Alan Shearer's record? Let me know in the comment section. But after Rooney scores his goal, Walker gets sent off from a terrible challenge. I still am not sure how it happened. He jumps up. He kind of gets a piece of the Everton player. And then Danilo, the right back who transferred in from Real Madrid, gets a great attempt on target. It is saved. Not too long after that, Danilo sends in a wonder ball who lands at the foot of Raheem Sterling, and he rifles it in the back of the net to tie it up 1-1. Before the whistle blows, though, another red card, not just Walker. We had Morgan Schneiderlin get his second yellow card off of a terrible tackle on Sergio Aguero. I don't know what's going on, but there's been a lot of red cards in the last 2 weeks. More so than usual, I feel like. Let me know if this is just me or if there's been a lot of red cards, but it seems like there's been a lot of bad tackling and there's been a lot of really stupid fouls taken by some guys, especially Morgan Schneiderlin. But it ends up 1-1 after the Sterling goal. Calvin Lewin set up Rooney. This guy looks pretty good for Everton. It'll be interesting to see how this guy goes going forward. But there it is, Manchester City, Everton 1-1. Before we wrap this up, let's look at the tables and see where everyone falls. Okay, guys, so at the top of the tables, we have 3 teams. That's Manchester United, Huddersfield, and West Brom. All 3 of those teams, out of the 3 teams, no one has let up a goal. Manchester United, of course, 8 goals unanswered in their 2 wins, 4-4, 4-0 and 4-0. Huddersfield, 4 goals scored, none against. And West Brom have won both their games 1-0. So behind them, we have Watford, Manchester City, Liverpool, Southampton, and Everton, who all have 1 win and 1 draw. Everyone else after that, it doesn't matter because they're in trouble. Tottenham, Leicester, Arsenal, these teams right now are struggling. They either have 1 win and 1 loss, or they have 2 losses, or they have a win and a tie, or they have a tie and a loss. Either way, the top of the table right now is strange. You've got United, Huddersfield, West Brom. I think Man United's going to just keep pushing along. But Huddersfield and West Brom, it's interesting to see these 2 teams do so well early. We'll have to see how that goes. And lastly, I want to highlight the on WhoScored.com. If you look at the best players right now, the top of the list in the Barclays Premier League right now is Mkhitaryan, and it is absolutely obvious. There's also guys like Lukaku and Pogba. It's not surprising, though. This guy is absolutely sensational. Mkhitaryan is really doing well. His form now is so much better than it was last year when he transferred in from Dortmund. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep that up. But yeah, there you go, guys. That is the Barclays Premier League Week 2 catch-up. And if you guys like this video, drop the thumbs up, subscribe. And until next week, thanks for freaking watching.